Welcome everyone. Today we'll bring another very important guy. He has a vast experience. He has experience in supply chain management. He has engagement with a lot of corporations as a board directors, advisors, and he has engagement even with World Economy Forums. So with his experience, I think many of our young pools and many of our policymakers, government officials, corporation, even young tools, they learn a lot of things from today's sessions. Because this world has a lot of challenge right now, I think he is one of the right guy who can give us solution. Hello, sir. Can you introduce with us about you and your lot of activities with our audience?
Thank you very much, Sharif, and I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, I appreciate to get so much credit for my moderate life. And yeah, I'm happy to explain a bit what the journey has been so far. I was privileged to enjoy. Journeys are full of challenges, and so is my life. But I think it's an incredibly good thing because challenges make us grow. When I face them, I wish to think about it, wish to write about it, speak about it, and do something about it. I continuously wonder why things are what they are. I wonder how I can turn things into something positive. I was born in Germany, and since my childhood, I have been interested in a lot of topics and many places. I started to explore the world when I was 15. Since then, I have been traveling extensively. I feel privileged that I've seen so many places. And only at the age of 25, I started really to form an opinion about what I wanted to do in life. Till that time, I was kind of floating around and only clear about the things I did not want to do. I think this is because society tells you what to do, but not why you should do that. At that time, at the age of 25, I discovered business. I understood suddenly that business was creating opportunity and jobs. Surprised that I didn't get that before, that it gives meaning to people. This discovery intrigued me to wish to become a business person. And the next 25 years was only about business. I was a country general manager, Switzerland, and head of Eastern Europe and Eastern Mediterranean region at the global integrator, TNT, now a part of FedEx. I was vice president, international development, and president and CEO, Geopost Intercontinental at French La Poste. I have bought and built businesses across the world, from the United Kingdom to Russia, Denmark to South Africa, from Hong Kong to the United States, from the United Arab Emirates to Burkina Faso. So in my life, I have been responsible for the entire planet and had the responsibility and also the opportunity to meet a lot of people from different cultures in the world. And at the age of 50, I started to become an entrepreneur and to invest in startups. I also joined the global strategy firm CVA and was overseeing their China and India business and leading their global logistics practice. And in 2014, I joined the World Economic Forum. And I will talk maybe of that, about this story a little bit later. Today, I'm a member of several boards, as Sharif said, of companies across the globe. I'm judge of the IATA Air Cargo Innovation Awards and the Automotive Logistics Awards Europe. I'm member of the Logisticsweisen, which is a think tank under the patronage of the German Federal Ministry, BMBI, which is the ministry looking after transport and digital infrastructure. and part of the expert network of the World Economic Forum. I'm a founding member of NEXT, alias Center of Excellence for Global Emerging Supply Chain Technologies, initiated by ReefNote, Kühne + Nagel, and SG Innovate in Singapore, and I'm expert of C20, an international not-for-profit initiative and network of ports, academia, associations, and companies supporting maritime transformation. I enjoy partnering with startups and corporates to support their growth and digital transformation. I enjoy thinking the future. Some call me a futurist, but particularly the future of global supply chains, which I call demand and supply networks. I spoke in over 30 countries at more than 100 conferences, authored or co-authored more than 10 books and 20 papers, published over 100 articles, and I'm a BIFD, Forbes, Fortune, and Nikkei contributor. I'm highly active on social media. That's also why I'm here, because this will be published on social media, but that's not the only reason, because I love to share. I'm a Quorum, with more than 1.3 million content views, and I'm a nomad of the world and the cyberspace. Sharif, that's a bit me and what I bring to this conversation.
Yes, thank you, sir. This is brilliant because you have a dynamic skills and dynamic knowledge, and actually you have executions. So in present scenario, in COVID-19 situation, you live in Hong Kong and you have experienced 30 more different countries. What is the present conditions? How do you think about business in present situation?
Okay, the situation in Hong Kong is very well. Hong Kong never had a full lockdown. Hong Kong is one of the densest cities in the world, with crowded high-rise housing squeezed in almost every available place, and more cross-border traffic with China than anywhere in the world. And despite all that, despite all the density and the relatively open borders, although when you come in, you will be tested and you have to go in a quarantine and you will be quarantined and you will be checked. Hong Kong has had only 4 known COVID-19 deaths. Our city of more than 7 million people has recorded no local cases for weeks. I believe that this is the consequence of self-imposed measures by the Hong Kong people. And it shows that it is mainly about people and their self-responsibility and discipline, how you manage the crisis. In terms of business, Hong Kong is dependent on tourism, and there's definitely a hit. The national flag carrier, Cathay Pacific, is clearly suffering. But on the passenger side, when you go to the air cargo side, the picture is very different. There is a lack of air cargo capacity because the mass cancellation of commercial flights has taken 40% of capacity out of the global air cargo market. And I just got off a call, and some people believe that it is even more. So Hong Kong as a city, if you take it as a local business, is doing well, with some ups and downs on the international side.
Yes, very interesting, because now Hong Kong has control, and Asia Pacific, I think many countries, they are trying to control this COVID-19 situation. As you are think tank, you are working as a future thinkers, you can predict the business and future of the business. What will be the future of business next 2-3 years in present situation, and specifically based on supply chain? Many countries, they call us, they said, we have horrible problem with supply chain management, we lose our business, we lose 80% of our business. How do you think about the business condition?
Yeah, currently it is impossible to say, right? The ones who have a vision of 3 years, I think, are very few, and I'm not one amongst them. But I want to say that not every business is hit negatively. There are also businesses that benefit. I personally believe that certain e-commerce verticals are booming. Medical equipment, pharma is not suffering. That everything which is related to virtualization of our life has much better perspectives now than 6 months ago. I think that we have seen in the last 5 months what we were supposed to see in the next 5 years. So that also means that everybody that produces and sells equipment supporting the digitization of economy and society is also benefiting. So it's not a plain we are losing here. There are ups and downs, and both sides are challenging. If you have to deal with peaks, it's challenging, and of course, if you are facing a 80% shortfall in the business, that's a real challenge, and you have to cut costs wherever you can. You have to see how to improve your capital situation and extend your runway.
Sir, we know that you serve for World Economic Forum. So it's a big forum, and I have many students in our forums and many professors and many corporations. They want to learn actually how actually World Economic Forum they contribute. Specifically, we want your contributions, how you work for them, and your activities and your brilliant execution policy, how you execute with World Economic Forum.
My journey with the World Economic Forum is quite a long one. I have been engaged with this important international organization for public-private collaboration for quite some time. It goes back to my times at La Poste when I was driving the international development almost 20 years ago. There, our first engagement with the forum was focused on Asia. We wish to leverage the forum platform, which is a convener of multiple stakeholders, to understand what was going on in Asia, what was going on in this rising region. The first summit I joined was on China. I was impressed by the breadth of the topics and the quality of the speakers. Subsequently, I attended summits in Japan, Korea, Singapore, Thailand, and India. Later, La Poste expanded the partnership to a global scale, and I participated in events in Cape Town, Rio de Janeiro, the annual meeting in Davos, and of course, I continued to go to the Asian meetings too. What I took away from our engagement were a lot of insights. At a forum event, you can get within, say, 2 or 3 hours, a very good snapshot on individual countries across the region, across the world even. It depends to what summit you are going. It is also a relationship network. So you build relationships, whether it is on the public sector side or whether it is on the private sector side. You meet leaders from international organization or non-governmental organizations. So it helps to build your ecosystem as a person and as a business. In 2014, I started to support the organization more directly, and I started working as the head of supply chain and transport industries in New York. The first papers the team published under my lead were about enabling trade with a focus on Brazil and a bit on Africa, and about responsible practices in supply chains. And this was following the experience of the Rana Plaza event. Later, we shifted the focus to digitization, published papers that cover topics like the technology Silk Road, intelligent assets in the context of the circular economy, distributed manufacturing, which is additive manufacturing, and blockchain in trade and supply chain. We also conducted a study on the state of supply chain 4.0 across the world, with a specific zoom on 6 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. We collaborated with various organizations, including Bain, Accenture, McKinsey, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, BVL International, and the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB. And with the leading players which are contributing to the work at the World Economic Forum, like Deutsche Post, DHL, DP World, Flex, Lufthansa, Maersk, Volkswagen, UPS, to name a few, we set the annual agenda, which we discussed in Davos. First, we discussed what we wanted to do, and then what had happened in the year. And in 2018, I facilitated an open letter of 10 CEOs proposing a path forward for trade. I think a very important topic when we look back to the years 2019 and 20, and the actions included reforming the World Trade Organization, WTO, bringing trade laws into the digital and service eras, streamlining customs, and making trade more inclusive, which is about ensuring that we take everybody with us, because globalization also has its downsides. And we are having seen a lot of job losses, especially in the middle class in the developed world. And today, as I said before, I'm part of the World Economic Forum Global Expert Network. I'm working with the teams on various topics. I contributed to several papers on blockchain in supply chain, but also on international trade and 3D printing. I was part of the team that prepared the blockchain toolkit, which was launched end of April this year.
Okay, brilliant. Sir, side by side, at present, you have a lot of engagement with different organizations. So how do you manage different country, different cultures? It's very, very challenging, because I know that you have North America, you have engagement, Europe, you have engagement, Asia, you have engagements. So how dynamically you handle, because at present world, especially the youth, they come, they are not risk taker, but you are mentally very young, and you took a lot of challenges and contribute for many corporations. How it possible? How you make it true for in real world?
Yeah, first I believe that people in the world are not as different as some may think. So that makes it easier. We all would like to have a happy family. We all would like to have a fulfilled life, some money to have to afford a good home and food, and sometimes some holidays. So there are a lot of similarities, and I think that's a good starting point, to focus on the similarities and also appreciate the differences. And I was always very curious, so that helped me, because I always found it exciting to see the differences between people, between places, between views.
Yes, I have a specific question for you, like how we can understand like present fourth industrial revolution. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we want to understand about the fourth industrial revolution. actually how it works in present worlds, and how you integrated these fourth industrial revolutions. Yes.
The fourth industrial revolution is the aggregation, the convergence, and the acceleration of different technologies. And it's kind of the latest step in a sequence of revolutions. It started with steam engine, and then we came to electricity, mainframe, information communication technology, and along the way we picked up the robot, the artificial intelligence. But it took quite a long time before we got to that point of convergence in history. So we are talking about a very broad range of technologies which are used in specific solutions, and they are not used as one technology. A lot of discussions are about artificial intelligence. What will artificial intelligence do? What will blockchain do? What will platforms do? No, it's about solutions. It's about solutions for problems. So the way how the fourth industrial revolution plays out in an ideal scenario is that it bundles the technologies we have, which became much more mature, and provide better solutions compared to those we had in the past. And in the supply chain, we see that in a lot of spaces. We see a massive development in warehouse automation. It started with Amazon and Kiva, which is the robotics company acquired by Amazon, which changed the way we look at automation in warehouses. We see now a lot of developments in autonomous vehicles, and autonomous vehicles come in very different forms. They come as autonomous trucks, which are either new trucks or refurbished trucks. They come in form of drones, but they come in forms of ships. They come in form of terminals. So we see a lot of, in fact, this is robotics equipped with artificial intelligence, with Internet of Things, which will change the way assets operate along the supply chain. Then there is a big topic around visibility, any kind of transparency, from the raw material supplier down to the retailer and the user. We wish to have more transparency for various reasons. For the reason of personal peace of mind, we would like to know what is in the goods. We would like to know which country the goods come from, who were the people who were employed, so that we don't have modern slavery and child labor involved in this, etc., etc. So these are just some examples how the fourth industrial revolution plays out in our life. And there is much more. That was the supply chain. Then you have, and supply chain, of course, incorporates to a certain extent the e-commerce, but you have also digital or virtual education. And we see this now. Now, we don't need to go to universities. The universities come to our homes, right? We don't need to go to doctors. The doctors come to our home. They all come through the internet and through digital devices or technological devices.
Yeah, sir, there is a very interesting point you come up with, is this supply chain. When supply chain works from the production house to the marketing perspective, everywhere we use a lot of technology. We use AI, we use e-commerce, you use autonomous vehicles, and we use a lot of AI related activities as well. Do you think in the futures human basically lose their job for integrated with lot of technologies and these things, what will happen in the third world or developing nations, I want to say?
I personally don't believe that a lot of people will lose the job as such. There will be jobs which will be replaced by machines, routine jobs. At the same time, there will be a lot of opportunities and jobs being created by technology. And we have seen this again and again and again in history. And I have a hard time to believe that it will not be the case this time. Meaning, if we look at the smartphone, if we just look at smartphone and Facebook, two very reduced cases. A lot of people in Asia make a living out of this. So you can promote your products on Facebook. You can, in fact, organize an entire business around a smartphone. So this I have never seen in numbers, but I think there is a massive economy which has been created just around this kind of solutions. And then when we think forward, there will be much more of that. We will have people who are much more mobile, whether they stay at home or work from the restaurant or an internet cafe or a coffee shop. And that will create services. You know, the internet cafe will have revenue, the coffee shop, before the people were in the office. I may be taking it very simplistic, but the human creativity and entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial spirit is so strong that I can't believe that humans will just say, we leave this all to the robots. And we could have done that. I believe that if that was the objective, we could work towards this. But we don't work towards this, even unconsciously, because we don't feel that somebody will take care of us, right? So we want to take care of ourselves, and we use the tools which come out of the fourth industrial revolution to make sure that we can make a living.
Yes, that is actually brilliant. But I have one specific question. When, like, I'm from a developing nations, and I try to learn from the root level peoples. Yes, we have connectivity with the mobile phone devices and other things, but we need to modernize education system. So how we can give more opportunity to these underprivileged peoples to cope up with this technology and contribute with their intellectual capabilities? What your advice and guideline on that particular point?
I might come up with a very unconventional advice on you.
Okay.
The idea which comes to my mind, because education is not my field,
Understand,
but everybody has experienced education in one form or another. So my view is that technology, fourth industrial revolution, internet, computing power, cheap devices, in fact, give everybody that has access, which is not everybody, as we know, it's about 50% of the world population, but this 50% has access to all the information, probably to most of the wisdom which has ever been produced by humanity. So the missing element is, how do I filter the good from the less useful information, and who helps me with critical thinking, with synthesis, with analysis, etc. But even that we might find on the internet.
Yeah, very interesting, because we are going more deeper and deeper understanding about the technology, about the industrial things and other things. So because you have a lot of experience on industrial engagement, you can engage, you have a lot of network with governments and the corporate relationship. So in the education systems, it's my personal belief even how we can integrate it, because I saw that still many universities and other things, maybe they have opportunity to integrate it more professional people like you, when industrial experienced people and academicians, they integrated more together, maybe more good things come. So in that particular point, what your advice, because you have diversified experience, so in that particular situations, how we can like engage with you with your industrial experience from academia?
I don't want to put myself in the front
Okay,
because
okay. Yes,
I think that it is more than bringing some experienced people to the table.
okay, yes, sir.
I believe that there is a need for a paradigm shift and
Mm-hmm.
a more systemic approach.
Mm-hmm.
What came to my mind when I listened to your question is to think about education like open source, and
Yes.
let the even the curriculum
Mhm.
be the result of a collective effort
Mhm.
with and open source with a peer review, with
Mhm.
quality mechanisms,
Mhm.
because when people can contribute and are not there only to consume, I think they are more engaged, they learn more. That is an idea. There might be different roles within the system, but when you ask me what is the future of education, I would say it's open source,
Mhm.
and it's a dynamic organism. I have a hard time to believe that, considering the pace society and economy is moving at that point,
Mhm.
that we can put people for, let's say, 15 years or 20 years on an educational path and then
Mhm.
ask them to educate other people,
Mhm.
because what they will transmit is the knowledge from yesterday. And what we need is at least the knowledge of today, which means we need the participation of the people today. And of course, I can be one of those, but I think
Mhm.
it's more. It is a systemic approach and a much larger ecosystem and group of people.
Mhm. Yes, very interesting, sir. Sir, I want to move on your supply chain. Basically, now many of the business organizations, they're losing their business. Let's say you are talking about Rana Plaza. So, like example, many country like garments industry or agro-based industry, or many countries, they say they are already losing their business actually in a country wise, the GDP go down, uh, academic sector, hospitality industries, garments industry, everyone, they are losing their business. What will be the future of globalizations? How this kind of organization can overcome from their situation? What's your perspective?
These are different questions. The future of globalization is more regionally concentrated supply chains. The the times where we had the Chinas of the world, and I'm not speaking only about today's China. I think about the UK, the US, even Germany. These days for me are gone. We have a much more inclusive world. We have a world where we see regional platforms, whether it's Europe, whether it's East Asia, Southeast Asia, North America, and people concentrating on surfing these platforms. There are a few global players who serve across multiple platforms, but I see this regionalization. And this is the old, let's say, layer of globalization. There is a new layer of globalization, which is growing 60% faster than the trade in goods. And this is the trade in services. This is cross-border data. This is digital trade, whatever you wish to call it. And for me, the future.
Yes, I'm listening, sir.
I just had some noise at my end.
Sorry.
The future of globalization is in the cloud. I believe that the future of globalization is digital trade, digital commerce, global consultancy services. Already today, according to official statistics, this is about 23% of trades in goods. But if you add to this the Facebooks, the free services, we are already at 50% of trade in goods. And considering what I said before, the much faster growth, we can see the writing on the wall. So the future opportunity doesn't lie in shipping shoes from Cambodia to France. It lies in developing digital products and services and sell them across the world.
Very interesting. There are actually one of the audience response. It's up to you. You can give their answer or something. Is Mr. Ankit? He said. He said that would you invest on a person, people, or a business? Like I think that audience want to know like which one is good. It's invest on a people or invest on a business. What's your like guideline on a particular critical analysis?
I always have a bias towards people. Okay. And if it's a small business, it's definitely about people. If it's a very large business, it is, of course, much more solid. And then you have the brand value, the customer base, the operation and the operations, and of course the quality of management. But it's a bit different play.
I think he has another question. What do you think about a global startup backed by multiple countries and government? A startup, they are backed by multiple countries as well as government. What do you think? Is it practically possible? Or if it's startup, I don't know, like you are more experienced in that industry.
I'm not experienced with that question. Okay. It's a good question. It's a great idea. I believe it's happening. It's happening in Europe. If you take Europe as a multi-country region, if you take Europe as one country, it's not happening. But Europe is promoting startups. So the EU. I think it has its limitations. So I can see this within regions because of what I have said before. There is an interest to build strong regional ecosystems to ensure stable economies. And we see this now with COVID-19. We had a ripple effect. So Asia was switched off first, then Europe, then the United States, or North America or the Americas. So then Asia started again, then Europe, and then will come the America. So the Asia now can restart as a regional system. That's possible, but it's hard to synchronize with Europe and the United States, for example, which is in lockdown. So there is that regionalization within a cultural context, people understand. And although I said, okay, let's focus on similarities, embrace the differences, but it's easier to work across similar cultures. And that means also that you can align your interests better, which allows to launch initiatives like the joint support to startups. And maybe under the umbrella of the Belt and Road Initiative, you could have also the startup Silk Road, right? Just so you have the health Silk Road, you have the digital Silk Road. Why not having the startup Silk
Road? Okay, brilliant idea. Startup Silk Road. So you focusing on the more regional activities, regional collaborations, and most importantly, you give some example like Silk Road Initiative and something like that. What do you think about the future in between China and USA relationship, business wise? What your perspective? What will be the global relation in future?
I think that the relationship between China and the US will continue to be difficult. Just this is a rivalry between two major economic powers. I personally hope that we come back to multilateralism so that we can also approach the challenges beyond economy, because what I was talking about so far is more the economic perspective, the supply chain perspective. So let's focus more on regions, but these regions will be connected because you still will have people who wish to drive an Italian, a British, or a German car, or a US car. They want to have a Japanese product, so we will ship things across the globe. We have also raw materials we need to ship to different continents. But I believe that we will come to this more regional world, which will also decouple to a certain extent economically the US from China, or North America from Asia. There will be not a complete decoupling because Asia is just too important. This is the Asian century. Asia has most of the people. Asia has most of the potential in the making. So for a lot of multinationals, it is important to have their foot as well in Asia. So there will also be pressure from the business community on the economic layer to keep some kind of open game and connectivity.
Yes, sir, we find that technology playing a very good role. We find a regional relationship playing a role. What about the public-private partnerships? Because in a long time, or what I can understand in your career, you playing a major role in the relationship and networking in between public and private organizations. So how it will be more effective right now in challenging situation?
Public-private partnerships are important, and the Belt and Road Initiative is a kind of public-private partnership at unprecedented scale. We need public-private partnerships when the returns are uncertain and long-term. So usually in infrastructure, certain energy projects, and this is where the Belt and Road plays a role. In India, we see public-private partnership projects. In the Middle East, I believe it's an important element to finance long-term, lower return project, because the private sector will not go there without the public sector providing their backing and certain guarantees.
Mhm. In South Asia, many of the countries they are developing mega projects and this kind of things. So even sometimes they are very successful. Sometimes they are struggling with many of the things. Do you have, because we have many audience and many policy makers from South Asia. You know, Bangladesh economy also growing, India also doing very good. Even side by side, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and many countries they are trying to more involve with different kind of this project what you are talking that so how they can enhance their efficiency from their policy wise and other things.
I think the playbook is well known. It
Hmm.
starts with proper planning, to
Hmm.
work only on projects which have a relatively reasonable chance to produce the returns. And
Hmm.
when I put, for example, the Belt and Road into the current context, there will probably be a cleanup, and some projects will be scrapped,
Hmm.
which were maybe risk taking or doubtful at the beginning, but now it becomes very clear that there is no chance that they will produce the returns. So I think that the critical step is the first critical step is the proper planning and the proper analysis. And there are a lot of institutions in the
Hmm.
world that are helping with that. Then comes the selection of the right partners, and it's the uh, same story. It is to have a proper, objective, neutral process based on hard criteria to find the right partner. And if you have the right partner, then it is about the execution, which is in fact the consequence of having the right people. And fourth point is, of course, a stable regulatory and political environment, which is important in particular for the private sector.
Yes, very interesting, sir. Sir. One point, because supply chain is a very big issues right now, as well as what you are talking. Many technology come, so like digital education, digital banking, e-commerce sites, artificial intelligence, many more things actually growing. So there is a competitions, even different kind of tech giant. They have lot of competitions in the first world. Let's say China has different tech giants, USA has different kind of tech giants. So how developing nations can integrate it in between these competitions, or what will be the best solutions if if we think a developing nations they are just improving step by step, and now they are in trouble for COVID-19 situations. They're facing their export and their business wise improvement, many things now in closing down. In that situations, how this kind of technologies can help them to rebuild their business, or how they can create very trustworthy relationship and the other things with these tech giants taking their helps, and they can come to their track again. What your analysis on that particular point?
On the let's say help or collaboration side, I believe currently is a great moment to grab some supply chains. The big powerhouses, whether it is China, Europe, the US, they all need markets, or Japan, they all need markets. So there will be competition uh, in respect to market entry in Southeast Asia. So there is a lot of opportunity for new negotiations and discussions. There is clearly an opening. Since 2018, the Chinese companies have focused their activities on larger markets in Southeast Asia, and I think this will continue. So they bring new opportunities and new growth. So I'm positive on that side. On the technology aspect, I think that technology gets cheaper, that technology got tailwind through COVID-19. So people in the region are technology savvy. So they will use this technology to build their business, as I described it before. I think that the most underrated tool is in fact the smartphone, but probably underrated from a more developed world perspective. But you can do enormous things with a smartphone. What is important though is that also governments in, for example, Southeast Asia have to allow this and put also the connectivity in place, so sufficiently performing communication networks. So there are some prerequisites which have to be put in place. But I think that the dynamics in the virtual economy are positive to help, in particular, the developing world to close the gap.
Sir, in Asia Pacific market, I think that around 50% people, they are youth, they are under 25 years old. What your advice for these young generations, those who can contribute for the economy, and those who can engage new technology, and those who can, what you are talking like entrepreneurial attitudes and other things, they can take challenges. So what your advice for this youth generations in Asia Pacific market?
Never stop learning.
Yes, sir.
For my life, it was very important early on to understand that life is a marathon and not a sprint. And nevertheless, you have to run faster than everybody else. So better learn a lot, be smart. So continuous learning is one thing. I have seen during COVID-19, I traveled a bit, and still in February, a lot of people spending their time on their phones. I thought, I hope they are taking courses on certain tools, virtual tools, on equipment, maybe language like English. I believe the future is digital. So young people should be very savvy. I coded myself at the age of 25. I'm not sure whether you need to do that, but one needs to be a very good user. There is a need to be good in one thing, because there's one thing which identifies us all. For some people, it is a math teacher, or she is an artist, or I'm a supply chain person, but they have to find that one thing in the sea of the virtual economy. But then around this, build a good understanding about the world. And as I said, English is not a bad idea. Maybe in this part of the world, Chinese is good too. I speak also a few languages, so that helped me. So everybody who wishes to make a career and go or move up the ranks, I think languages are important, and with the language comes a cultural understanding. I think the language is more important than the travel.
Yes. So this is very interesting sessions. Well, we have few more minutes. We want to discuss on your personal objective as well. Like example, what you want to see like in next 5 years, like how you want to, because now we know you are very busy, like Like, do you have a plan to write any book on your personal lifestyle? Anything like our audience can know more about your very dynamic activities? So, yes.
Currently, I'm very busy with, let's say, dealing with COVID-19 and helping the people in my network to cope with the situation. That means individuals, but also startups and corporates. For going forward, I'm preparing to launch 2 networks. It's a bit too early to speak about, but one is a network around supply chain innovation, which is in fact at the heart of my activity over the last at least 5 to 10 years. And the other is around circular economy. And this is based on the belief that we have currently a defreeze, a moment where we can launch new things, where we can influence the direction of the world in a bigger way than 6 months before. And innovation and the circular economy, which is the reduction of emissions, the reduction of waste, both topics are very close to my heart. I have written more, or authored or co-authored more than 10 books. Yes, I'm planning a new book. This book will be in German, but there will be extracts in English, and it's also around the circular economy. So I'm driving the projects I'm passionate about. And 5 years is a very, very long horizon now.
Okay.
I'm planning a year ahead, and I did this always in my life. I planned a year, I committed a year, then reviewed for myself with others, and decided how to take it from there.
Yes, brilliant. Actually, our audience learning a lot from your sessions. Humaira Tanzila, I think she's from Malaysia. She said, "Thank you, sir, for your time today." So we are very happy. Like my last questions. If you go back, your like we reduce. Let's say now you are in 50 or 40, whatever it is. We reduce 20 more years from your life. So let's say you are now 20 years old man. What you love to do at present challenging situation? How you want to contribute?
I think I would do the same as I did. I was
Brilliant.
very curious all my life. I was not yet clear at the age of 20, but I started already traveling. I spent quite a bit of time in Latin America in my early 20s. I would do the same if the opportunities opened up, and explore and learn and see what I could do. Because now, if I take the status where I am, I would do exactly what I'm doing, right? I think circular economy is so important. We need to protect the planet. We need to see how can we build an economy which serves 10 billion people. So it's so important. If I take my knowledge of today, at the age of 20, I would launch the same network. I think innovation is what makes us grow, what makes civilization. So I would push the innovation side as well. So it's always the same, right? Stay hungry, stay foolish, right? As Steve Jobs said.
This is the brilliant idea. I think you said that stay hungry, stay foolish. Like we should more focus on the execution of work, and we love we have to love innovation, we have to love technology, we have to integrate it with our different kind of networks, how you travel around the world. I know personally you visited many countries, many corporations, and you do a lot of work. So hope with your interview, our audience, our guest, our peoples, we have many peoples that we are inviting them. Even if you allow us, we will discuss with many of the students, those who never get chance to integrate it with people like you. So we have many peoples around the world who love to contribute with World Talent Economy Forums, and hopefully with better understanding and the better collaborations, and with your network concept, we can make a meaningful, better economy systems for these present worlds. So already many audience from Ankit, Umaira Tanzila, even Bodruddin Zaman, he's from Bangladesh. He said it's a lesson for us. Thanks. So your lessons is a very helpful for our audience. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your everything. Hopefully we will do more work together in the futures, and definitely people like you, we want to invite you in our board as an advisors, and with your guideline maybe we can make more good things together.
Thank you very much, Sharif. With pleasure.
Yes.
And
yes.
yeah, I think very important to collaborate, to share, to learn. This is what life is about and what growth is about.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your effective time, and we are really, really great because you give your valuable time. I know you are very busy, so this is very important time for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.